I really appreciate Team USA sticking to the script here. Thank you very much. But, you know, this is maybe a little bit too far. Not quite what I had in mind, considering that the Wurms had such a tough time in the previous game. They're now going to find themselves a near 500-0 victory in the second game. The teams will be joining up very shortly. We'll be looking over the builds, looking over the content, looking over the gaming very, very soon. Prepare. The teams are about to be organized. The teams are about to activate. We're ready to go very, very soon, gamers. Prepare to witness a massive 5v5. Two of the most powerful rosters of players in the entire game, going up against each other with the brand new End of Dragons Elite Specializations, gamers. You better be ready for it. Prepare yourselves to witness incredible Conquest gaming. I'm really curious to see what people have come up with. And the good news is we're going to be seeing almost every Elite Specialization. Unfortunately, I don't think we're going to be seeing Virtuoso or Untamed, but I think everything else is going to see play. Unfortunately, well, there's, you know, Untamed just isn't seeing play. I think Virtuoso isn't going to see play because it's actually currently got a bug on it that, you know, is like a really strong trait that you'd want to take, but it's banned because it's completely bugged. No, and specialization stacking is not allowed. There is no spec stacking. Okay, can ban pick whenever. Now, this is going to be a really good test environment, in my opinion, because the specializations here, because they're not like all on the same power level. They're closer together than they are to, say, the current meta. So I think you're going to see some really interesting matchups here, simply because of the way that the balance is right now in the current game. A lot of the elite specializations, they're actually rather good. It's just that the other stuff that already exists is just simply too strong. Okay, and that's where you encounter these difficulties. When you are ready, let's roll. Give me the greatsword here from the Vindicator. We might as well talk about this build while we're at it, guys. It is going to be Vindicator from Helio. This is essentially, it's kind of like a very similar build to Renegade, except instead of Renegade, you have Vindicator, right? Still going with the Vigor trait and, of course, the defensive trait here too. Very powerful, right? If you can land that on your allies, it's a huge 6k heal, 3k barrier, 3k heal, AoE, very powerful effect to actually land that. And, of course, you get that Vigor for massive dodge power to there as well. Very exciting stuff indeed. I imagine we're going to see basically the same build being played by Azers. Yep, it's the exact same build played by Azers here. It's going to be the Sanctuary rune, actually, instead of the Divinity rune that Helio is going with. So a bit more tankiness, some boon duration, and just more healing, right? A little bit more same, right? The Willbender is going to heal from Esprit. That will then get converted into more barrier there too. Of course, the healing here coming out from this will, of course, convert into barrier as well. So, yep, definitely an interesting choice there for a bit more sustainability. Azers on Spectre, running the full DPS build that we saw Syndrina run, essentially, or a very similar build. Ooh, interesting. Instead of going with no quarter, he's going with invigorating precision. That is absolutely fascinating. Wait, what is this? Wait, is there some kind of bug going on here, actually, guys? That's the situation. Is there something? Oh no! Oh. Ah, yes, I've heard about this bug, actually, right? That is interesting. Okay, yeah, there's a very weird interaction with Mechanist right here. It's going to be that Sanctuary rune, of course, gives you alacrity thanks to this trait, but that then also heals you, I believe, because of the, it's like a trait in alchemy, I believe. Yeah, this trait here, Companion Chemicals. The healing then also converts into barrier, giving you more alacrity, guys. Okay, that is, yeah, that's... Yeah, I actually thought they fixed this because this was in the game last time as well. I thought, but I thought they fixed it, but they actually didn't. There you go. That's a big fucking meme. Okay, we just roll with the memes. Okay, embrace the memes. We're not banning anything now. It's a little bit late for that. Okay, it's a little bit late for that, gamers. Right. Yes, any Alack enjoyers, guys? Any Alack gamers here as well? Yeah. I thought the bug was like, or actually, like, I thought they actually fixed this, but they didn't. Right. What is banning bugs? Permac is OP? Not because it's a bug, right? It is definitely, it's probably, it's not exactly a bug. It's more of an unintended, okay, let's just fucking go, okay, listen, okay, yeah, we're not going to overuse the thief trait, listen, okay, let's just fucking roll. Dude, this is, look, this is why it's impossible to get anything like this done. It becomes very, very serious. It's supposed to be like a meme show match, but now it's very serious. By the way, just for the context, this is a best of 5, right? Full best of 5. Even if it does go to like a 3-0, 3-1 or whatever, we'll play out the remaining games just to give you guys a flavor of how the specializations actually work, right? And yeah, it is. Yeah, it's big, guys. Massive roster, guys. Huge roster. Huge content gaming, right? Dude, once again, Sanctuary Rune causing problems. But anyway, let's go and take a look at what Zartek's actually running. It almost appears to be like almost some kind of something like bunkery build with inventions and alchemy, using Demolish, Amulet, and Rune of Sanctuary to generate big alacrity uptime there with compounding chemicals, high cleanse, and of course the elixir trait there for HGH and the elixir gun. Elixir 2 for fantastic sustain, and just using the mech for damage, right? The mech is going to be what's pumping here with the ranged cannons here. Good defensive crisis zone usage here with the protection, alacrity, stability, all that kind of good stuff. And the mech gains concentration and healing power. Simple as that, guys. Okay, what is even going on here? Someone has now left. Okay, look. Goku not playing Catalyst. No, Goku is not playing Catalyst. He's going to be playing a Blade Sworn. Let's see what he's going for here. It's going to be Berserker with Axe Shield. You know, I do think that Shield is such a strong weapon on Warrior. It's no surprise to see this played here. It was played with Greatsword, I believe, in some of the previous betas, but Shield is a very powerful weapon, and still going for like the massive reload here, using the ammo synergy there with tactical reload to get ammo back on all of these skills. Throw Axe, of course, will recharge. There were tactical reload too. Shake it off, on my mark, for just like a huge amount of AoE might sustain as well. Very hybrid, right? A lot of healing and damage output here. Coming down here from Vigor Shouts. Roy, have you returned, by the way? Oh, I'm being called again. Very nice, guys. Roy, welcome back. Welcome back. You know, already controversy is happening. You know, there's an argument over Sanctuary Rune going down here. But honestly, I just want to get this going pretty shortly. Is there any other, you know, I'm just kind of going over the builds right now. We see, like, the Renegade build in play, the Spectre build, running Invigorating Precision, just like a full DPS Spectre there, going with, actually, the 1,000 Needles preparation and a bunch of wells to teleport about the place. We have the Mechanist, kind of like the Duelist Bunkery-style Mechanist there, with Anti-Corrosion Plating, Alchemy, and Inventions. Esprit is going to be support Willbender. That's kind of, I did expect to see, basically, this, like, Willbender doesn't really fit into the current paradigm of PvP as of right now, so just going to try and make do with support Guardian. Of course, Goku on the Blade Sword trying to pump with the axes and shouting all over the place there as well. Big shout gameplay. He then leaves. He's keeping it secret, man. He's trying to keep that. Look. Oh, goodness me. Goodness gracious me. But I want to see the Harbinger, because again, we actually don't see a Harbinger from the Wurms, but we do see it from Naru. And Naru going with the Carrying Amulet Rune of the Traveler with Pistol Focus and Staff. Curses and Spite. Yeah, I saw him playing this build on stream, I think, actually. Or actually in an AT just yesterday, actually. Going with this massive AoE corruption set with Spite and Curses for massive area damage when going into Shroud. They're pulsing out Doom Approaches, big expertise and pistol damage. And, of course, the AoE Elixir here, too, to get value out of that Elixir of Ambition, along with some usual Necromancy utilities with CPC, Well of Darkness, Spectral Walk, and so on like that. Okay, I just want to kind of get this started ASAP, Roy, so they'll stop leaving the arena to try and conceal their builds. Yeah. Oh my god. Right. Team, let's go. Okay. Ready up when ready. Yeah, let's just fucking go, dude, okay? Like jeez. Oh, dear. All right then, team.
Apparently the bug is that you get perma alacrity.
Oh yeah, you know you do. Yeah, so,
cool.
Basically the situation is that the Sanctuary Rune procs off compounding chemicals, and it heals you. You know, you get barrier whenever you you get an alacrity when you get barrier, and whenever you apply alacrity, you proc compounding chemicals, and that means that you then also get alacrity back immediately from the Sanctuary Rune. So you get like 15 minutes of alacrity. Oh man, let's just go. Let's just go. I'm ready to meme, dude. I want to see this Catalyst builder actually from Gritty. He's actually going with Hammer. It's It's very cool, actually. You know, Hammer was something that was being played around with a little bit. It didn't see a crazy amount of play, and I think people thought it was a little bit weak, but it got a lot more usability, a lot more sustain added to it, just better toolkits there, and combined with the upgrade to the Jade Sphere, and yeah, he's leaning very heavily into that there with the Spectacular Sphere for that resistance, that might, fury, vigor uptime there too. Very powerful stuff, and stability on Aura. So, of course, when comboing a field, we'll gain stability, right? You know, like he has auras here on this block. We have plenty of good stuff there. And, of course, going with the new elite skill for the instant recharge on weapon skills. I think it's going to be very interesting to see how this actually plays out. But here we go, Roy. Welcome. Yeah. Welcome to the show. And, well, I mean, a little bit of drama there to start things off. But here we are. What do you make of this matchup?
These guys are all playing Guild Wars 2.
True.
I'm gonna level with you, Teapot. I haven't played any of the betas. I've barely looked at what any of the specs are, so I have absolutely no idea what any of these classes do. So this is kind of a first for me. There's a green robot. That's cool.
Yes, it's... Oh, Az is eliminated here as well. A massive unleashed spike from Helio obliterates the red Vindicator right off the bat there. And this leaves Goku highly exposed in that 1v2. He's going to have to try and kite that out and survive as best as he possibly can. On the other side, we have this kind of very, very slow duel between the Catalyst and the Mechanist. I think it doesn't look so far like the Mechanist can do too much damage. It is a very defensive build, not a lot of damage there. It looks like Grimjack able to stay very well. Naru takes a massive spike over on middle, though, from the Willbender and Azado. Spectre damage really bringing the pain. Of course, no defense from Shroud. Shroud will continue to pump, and that's the kill. Confirmed there's Zeromus going for the revival. Can he get it? I think he can. Yes, he does. There's the revive that was not finished off, but the Spectre is still here, bringing even more damage to the table, and Naru is not going to be able to survive for much longer here without some help there from the Willbender. Zeromus is able to provide that quite effectively, and Asdom is being driven away, but he still wants that kill. However, there's no more support. Now we do see Azaz come back there. I think we might see Naru fall very short. There's no Signet available this time. The healing from Zeromus is good. He actually falls down, though. Won't be able to help that Harbinger for much longer, but the damage, actually, the counter pressure is fantastic. From the Blade Sworn, and that does allow Azadome, in fact, to be the one who was taken out there as Helio teleports in there. I believe there was a Signet, or no, there wasn't. There was a port up, but the Signet was not available there from Esprit, and so far, actually no points secured for the French Wurms. Team USA in total control of this game.
Yeah, 2v2 off to the side while that mid-fight was happening, and Team USA won it. They got the kill onto Goku, and they were able to rotate in, and that's why we kind of see Naru not dying here. Obviously, a lot of pressure from the Wurms here on the middle node, but he's actually under a lot of pressure as well. Nice CC chain by Goku there on to the Harbinger, and he's taking quite a bit of pressure. Zeromus not able to completely support him. Does get into the Shroud, though, is able to dash away, and he's going to be okay for now. Jump pads available as well. The counter pressure onto Azur's as well is going to be going down. Taking him out, excuse me. The cleave really good as well. There's no res. Goku gonna fall. Esprit might not be long for this world either. 3 kills picked up very quickly. It's just Azurdome left here from the Wurms.
Yeah, and we do see point C. It was grabbed by the Mechanist of Zartak, but his entire team is dead, so that might not last for very long. Zartak is able to get to point A and decapture it, and Team USA still getting a little bit stuck on mid, as Asdome now just trying to evade them as much as he possibly can. He's holding on, but I'm not sure he's going to be able to hold into the damage of the Vindicator and the Blaze One. No, he is going to fall there. However, we did see Azaz get back off and actually get a kill immediately onto Naru. I think there's a Signet from Zeromus, and there it is. It does get right up, but still, that's a powerful resource burned, and this 2v2 will continue, and the Wurms actually do manage to hold on to point C during all of this.
Yeah. You know, they're catching up. It's going to be a little slow for them, given the nature of the map as well, but 1v1 so far isn't really going Grimjack's way over on point A. He's taking a little bit more pressure from the Mechanist at the moment, and he's going to be, potentially giving up that node, although he is obviously doing a pretty good job sustaining on the Catalyst. And I guess really one of these siders is probably going to be just looking for a plus from their teammate as soon as they can get freed up somewhere else. On the other side of the map, though, things not looking good for the Wurms there as point C gets decapped with the rotations in from Team USA. A lot of pressure onto Azur's as well early on to this fight. They might be looking to just take him out and swing this fight their way early. He's going to be able to continue to kite, though, obviously utilize the jump pads as well, but Azurdome now starting to take some pressure.
Yeah, this team fight is just looking pretty good for Team USA. Naru, though, does get eliminated, gets caught in the cleave there. The vulnerability of that Spectre really coming through. Can the Wurms cleave that out? I think they should be able to. There's no Signet that was already used a little bit earlier on there, and the Wurms do get a victory. Now, the question is, can Team USA disengage away from this? Looks like they actually do a good job of it.
Yep, they immediately leave. There's no signet from Zeromus, so probably as soon as Naru went down, the call was no signet. We can't res this. You know, there's not going to be a lot of hard res utility, especially with that Necro being the one in downstate. And so they just leave. And as you said, really good disengage from them. They already had 2 side nodes as well, or excuse me, 2 nodes. Grimjack was able to either win that 1v1 or the engineer, the mechanist from red team just gave it up. So they're holding on to double cap. They give it 1 kill, they give it 1 node. It's not a big deal for them. So good rotation from them, good awareness. And for the next fight, they'll have Signet available. So if they find themselves in that situation again, it should be a lot easier for them to continue fighting. The Spree getting chased down by Naru off to the side as well. Now we're going to be able to just kind of play aggressively coming in off of respawn as middle node. Now going to be the real point of contest here with the Spree rotating in from that. Already we see, CJ, the Bladesworn, taking a little bit of pressure. But Zeromus is there to peel for him, and Naru coming off the side as well should be able to peel with some damage. Big damage going onto the node from him. Goku under a little bit of pressure, but his Spree still looks like he's kind of, maybe not the target. No, I think, it is going to be Goku as they continue to chase him off the node. Naru actually being really aggressive on this Harbinger.
Yeah, doing a really good job here. Like, Harbinger has a lot of damage if you're allowed to free cast. It does trade, you know, of course, a lot of sustainability for some pretty solid damage per second if you're able to get away with it. And we see that pressure of the Necromancer coming into a lot of effect here. The fight is fairly stale, though. It's very, very slow. Things aren't progressing that much. With the Mechanist from the Wurms, I think it's going to be quite difficult for Team USA to generate a kill because it's almost like a semi-support build with the way Zartak's playing with that Elixir gun and, of course, the Crisis Zone and healing that's going to come through from that. So now we're going to see even more damage coming through here onto the Wurms on this fight. The Spectre going for the plus onto Grimjack. But so far, a lot of these players just kind of holding on. The map state seems to be surprisingly stable with all of these fights. Nora even leaving, going to actually go to point C and try and neutralize that map. Will be chased down by Goku very, very shortly. But still, oh, actually, wait, there's a kill actually onto Hilo. Never mind, I lied. The 2v2 is good. The Spectre damage from Azadome, bringing the pain. This could be a second follow-up kill into Grimjack as well.
Yeah, I'd be surprised if he's able to survive for too much longer. Obviously, has a lot of defensive utility.
Nice.
Nice rotation here.
Yep.
We do see Zeromus coming in, so and he again, still has Signet available. I'm not sure about the jump. I guess maybe he just wanted to get into a better position to Signet, and he does land it either way. Forced to give it the node. Skyhammer comes down as well, so decaps across the map there. Wurms, I think, picked that up mostly for free. But good rotation from Zeromus, and this is something we're going to see a lot from Zeromus. This is something we're used to seeing from him. Really good rotational awareness, but big damage. And yeah, he's forced into the RF as Grimjack is going to be brought down today. I don't think Zeromus is going to be able to survive for much longer, using all of his cooldowns just to try to contest the node for a couple of seconds. That damage from Azure.
Yeah, insane.
Huge.
Actually, insane damage there from Azadome, just destroying that poor Catalyst in a matter of moments. Team USA, though, with a sizable advantage. We need to see the Wurms grabbing some points. Otherwise, they're going to be in trouble here. You know, they're still nearly 1/3 of their their opponent's points. So they've got to start winning some more of these fights consistently if they want to make up this deficit. A slow game to start off with here on Skyhammer, but that early advantage from Team USA is translating into a serious advantage as the game progresses.
Yeah, it's just so hard to snowball on this map. Even though they got 2 kills, you know, they were so spread apart. It took them so much longer to kill Zeromus than maybe it should have after his RF was burned. And they also really haven't, you know, they haven't really gotten pressure onto the map other than picking up that one node because point B rather, is not going their way. Goku going into downstate. The second going to be interrupted on a Spree as well. He's going to be forced to use the RF, not going to have a second chance to get into it. It goes down right after. So that's 2 kills picked up. The team fight already lost, even though they almost should have had an advantage coming into this. And yeah, the Wurms having a lot of trouble team fighting. That's my big takeaway from this, is they're just not able to team fight. And whether that's the Harbinger damage, whether it's, you know, having the Thief on the map where we don't see the Thief for USA, you know, they're going to have to change something up here and try to, because, you know, they're constantly losing team fights. We haven't really seen them win a single one.
Okay, yeah, you're absolutely right here. You know, it's certainly a very difficult situation for them to come back in. That the team fight, like certainly leveraging this Vindicator, seeming to be unbelievably powerful, right? From Hilo. Hilo connecting some massive damage there, guys. Yeah, we're on wave respawn, by the way, guys, because this is a new arena, because my arena deleted itself. I had to remake it. But yeah, there you go. And you know what? I like that. That's good. That's a good opener for the match here, guys. Okay, look. So far, no one's noticed. No one's noticed, dude. Okay, so that's fine.
I don't think that's true, Teapot.
Yeah.
I'm very confident they've noticed.
Yeah.
But yeah.
It doesn't matter. I don't think it's fine. It's fine. Yeah, not a problem. Right. Not a problem. Okay, but yeah, look, it wouldn't be a proper tournament, guys, if it wasn't scuffed, right? The beta's scuffed, the Alacrity's scuffed, everything is scuffed. I am indeed a professional gamer, professional streamer. The Wurms, even though they had a horrible last fight, they're actually able to come back somehow and leverage themselves a bit of an advantage in this game. They're looking for Naru again. Can they find? He actually does go down. He gets the port, but he is still going to fall here. Zroma's coming in for the hand res, doesn't have the signet available, doesn't actually get that, has to disengage, and the Wurms still on the warpath looking for the kill. They want to get the kill as quick as they can, but Zroma's using that willbender mobility to run away. Able to successfully do that.
You know, it's actually really interesting looking at the Guardian builds, because obviously, you know, they're trying to sort of, you know, copy the core Guardian support that is currently the meta without the EOD specs. And losing Valor does mean you lose a lot of your personal survivability on Willbender. You obviously have a lot of mobility that you normally wouldn't have on Core Guardian to kind of make up for it and make it a little harder for you to get tracked down. But losing Valor, I think, does definitely hurt the Core Guardian build. Its ability to stay in fights, its ability to probably try and stay on a res or potentially a downstate as long. So, you know, it is interesting just to see how that changes things. But a much more mobile support is also a good thing. And so far, again, I think Zromas is really using it to his advantage. We see him all over this map at the moment, just pretty much, you know, buffing up his teammates, healing them wherever they really need to. And he's able to do it a lot faster than, you know, he would on just the standard Core Guardian support build. That being said, Wurms holding on very consistently. They've gained 150 points in the last couple of moments and really held Team USA down to only about 30 points gained or so. You know, doing a really nice job holding on to this double cap. However, Skyhammer right now is going to be the point of contest. And as we've said in the past, team fights not great for the Wurms. So far, we see a downstate. The signet does come out for him from a spree, but so far, USA ahead of it. They're going to find another downstate. Now 2 downstates on the map total. And so far, the fight here for Skyhammer not looking good for them. Azure is barely able to survive getting out of that portal, but I don't think it's going to be long for this world as another downstate falls. The spree goes down, Azure goes down, and it's just Goku now contesting this node.
Yeah, I think it was weird because Asdom, he tried to 1v1 into the Catalyst. I think it was maybe not the best play there, and as a result of that, there was just not that much damage left over. The Wurms have a lot less DPS for these fights, right? You know, they have the kind of like the slightly bunkery engineer mechanist setup here, compared to like a very aggressive, you know, having the Harbinger in these fights, right? Dealing a lot of DPS for Team USA here, giving the advantage in the larger scale stuff there as well. Like, the Wurms couldn't really do that much there, and without the Spectre, then they just don't really have that punch they need to break through the enemy team, and therefore that fight goes very strongly in the favor of Team USA, neutralizing the map and essentially inverting the map state, now giving Team USA a significant advantage.
Yeah. You know, Wurms did a really good job up until the map mechanic came out, and they were forced for it. And again, that's where we've just seen them fall time after time again so far in this map and in this game. So they're going to have to be able to try and get that map state back to the point it was before Skyhammer came up. And if they can repeat it, hold USA, then I think they have a chance. But they've got to do it soon. 3 minutes left in the game, less than 100 points here for USA. They're running out of time pretty fast, so that they really need to get that double cap back and hold USA to where they were before. However, so far, you know, easier said than done. Azure very pressured out here onto the mid fight. Spree going to be forced to hold this node now as Goku's going to rotate out. We do see Zeromus chasing him, trying to get there before he can find the kill onto Helio as he pluses into the Mechanist here from the Wurms. Should be able to do so. Has Signet available as well in case Helio does go down. But so far, it is looking pretty good for USA. 60 points left, 2.5 minutes. I think they're probably in a almost impossible losing state at this point.
Yep, that should be the first game there. I mean, certainly a bit of a comeback, though, from the Wurms. You know, they had a very, very tough start there. Team USA just securing kill after kill after kill after kill. The Wurms rallying kind of towards that middle of the game, but I think they're not going to be able to quite fully get their comeback here and fully get their recovery. The map is totally, not totally neutral. Point C still held by Team USA. Grimjack holding on there, taking a lot of damage in this 1v1 against Grimjack. Now we do have Goku coming in. That could be dangerous for the Catalyst, and it absolutely is. However, there's a Signet available. Can they cleave it out in time? No, they can't. Zeromus gets that revive and the knockback to deny any further pressure onto Emmons, and that is pretty much going to be the end of the game right there. Especially with Asdom dead on the hammer. Good Signet though from a spree. But I don't think it's going to be enough. The damage is simply too much. Yeah. Comes in reloading with the elite skill. And the spree trying to hold the hammer as the game comes to a close.
So, I think it is really interesting just to see, you know, like the high level of play from these guys. Because obviously these are pretty much, you know, the best players in the game. And I think they're kind of playing the way they would normally play with regular specs. And again, I think that the team fight comp that we see here from Blue Team, from USA, is just a little bit better than what Red Team had. And yeah, don't forget to change the respawn settings.
It has been changed.
And because the current meta, right, without EOD specs, is team fighting. It's based around team fighting. It's based around winning those team fights. USA wins the game purely because they're winning the team fights. You know, it doesn't matter that they're on the EOD specs because for the most part, they're kind of just trying to copy, you know, as closely as they could. You know, the core, or rather the non-EOD specs that we would normally see them play. And I think the biggest shift here is probably that they're both running a warrior where you normally wouldn't really see a warrior played. It's not really a strictly side noter though, which we would if there was going to be a meta warrior build in the current non-EOD meta, you'd probably see a spellbreaker as a side noter. And so you know, I think that kind of being the biggest shift here. Obviously, also just in general, the mobility for most of these classes is just much higher than their non-EOD counterparts. As we were talking about before, with the Willbender obviously being way more mobile than any other Guardian spec, I'd say Warrior as well is probably, you know, the Bladesworn probably a little bit more mobile, although Warrior in general is a very mobile class, so maybe not as much. But just in general, I think mobility is a little bit higher overall. But no Mesmers. We don't see any Virtuosos. We don't see any Rangers. No Untamed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what we're lacking right now.
Are those the only two? I think those are the only two. Right?
Yeah, we have everything else is represented. We have the Mechanist, have the Warrior, of course, the Bladesworn, Vindicator, very popular. I think Vindicator is, considered to be the strongest Ender Dragon specialization right now. Definitely very powerful. We saw some insane damage coming out from Azaz and Helio in the previous game, and also some pretty handy support to that dodge roll with a 3,000 area effect heal and barrier. Pretty potent when it comes to supporting your team. So it's very interesting that a lot of the way a lot of the builds seem to be playing out so far in Ender Dragons, kind of hybrid oriented.
Do we want to test respawn settings, by the way, before we start the game?
It should be fine. Yeah, just like
we don't need to like reset the arena or anything.
Yeah, I think they just need to go and attack each other, right? I think, and that should fix. If I think one of them just dies now, then it should test it. So if they just fight, have a little scuffle real quick on one of them, then if one of them respawns, it should be fixed. But yeah, I changed it. I don't think it needs a full reset. It just needs to like have a map reset, then it should work. Okay. So if someone just goes and feeds, it should be no problem. We should be good to go. You know, I think the really interesting thing here to be watching out for is, in a way, like the different approaches, right? Because like Team USA, they are sticking with that very team fight style. We saw that work out really well for them on the Hammer. They were just able to win those fights very effectively. You know, using the Necromancer with the support god, the Vindicator, just to kind of like bash the enemy team very aggressively. I think the Wurms looking for more of a style with rotation, using the Thief, of course, right? Because there's no Thief, right? That's something that is weird. Right? Oh, for fuck's sake! God damn it! Okay. But anyway, you know, the Thief is a very mobile thing there, but it's interesting to see just like how much damage, you know, just how much DPS that the Spectre can bring, like even into these team fights. Pistol Whip, like look at this build that Asdom is running here. He has both Pistol Whip and he also has the Scepter as well, Scepter Dagger for some serious, massive damage out here, which you absolutely love to see that. You really, really do. It's incredible stuff there. You know, the only build that is probably not being played, quote unquote, as intended is the Willbender, right? Like the Willbender relegated to the support role. You know, funny enough though, I almost feel that Willbender is being played as a support not because the normal Willbender, like the roaming Willbender, is like totally awful. I think it's definitely probably the weakest Ender Dragon's elite specialization for sure. But I think it's being played this way because you want to play a support in PvP right now, and Willbender is like the easiest thing to make it into a support, right? If that makes any sense.
It's that. It's also just that, you know, Guardian is already the meta support, right? So I think if you're already a Guardian player, the shift isn't that big. And again, you know, you're dropping Valor, right? Because you obviously want to keep Virtues and Honor. It's not the biggest shift ever. Again, you know, the main thing would just be, you know, obviously getting used to the new Virtues, which, you know, as Romus is able to do. You have more mobility. You know, you have a little bit less sort of personal survivability, like I said. I think without Valor, you know, you lose some utility, but you also gain some utility, right? So it's a bit more of a trade-off. So it makes the most sense. I think there really isn't anything else that would, you know, work very well. You know, you could have Support Warrior, but I don't think Bladesworn necessarily utilizes the shout heal build, or rather support build, because it technically does run shout heal, but the support build.
It's kind of one of those things. Both teams leaning into this, like adding a little bit more support, like having a hybrid warrior dealing great damage, but also providing a lot of boons. Or you have like for great justice popping off there as well. On my mark for vulnerability. There's a lot of good stuff going on here. Even the cleanse from Shake It Off, and then reloading that with tactical reload. It's very interesting, I think, to see these approaches. A slightly different build here, like Lush Forest still being run here. By CJ here on the Warrior, where I believe it's not being run by Goku. Of course, this trait got very heavily nerfed, actually, on Lush Forest. So, there you go. But anyway, the opening splits have now come through. A Spree and Zartak holding off there on the windmill. And we actually do see a push there from the Spectre, from Azadome, and from Azaz going for Naru and Grimjack here. Let's see how that 2v2 goes. There's a lot of damage out here from the Spectre. I almost suspect that the 2v2 will actually favor the Wurms here into Naru and Grimjack, simply because of how vulnerable this Harbinger is going to be, and we kind of already see him being shoved away from the node.
The damage from the Spectre as well, I think, is just really, really strong. We saw it on Skyhammer in the side nodes, and that's really where the Wurms kind of, were able to win parts of the game. So when they can split up the team fight a bit more, I think it's a lot better for the Wurms. But we'll just have to see if they're able to hold USA to that at all. This is their map pick, I assume. And so, maybe they're a little bit more comfortable on this. But either way, yeah, I think if we see Azadome able to roll into these fights, pick up a kill, pick up a player here, in the 2v2, 3v3 a little bit better.
Oh my god, that was so much damage from Azaz, right? Wow. And Goku just absolutely demolishing, nearly getting a second kill. Like Zeromas nearly fell there. He was very, very fortunate that he wasn't able to get completely just obliterated in that burst, was able to disengage and grab that signet, stabilizing the fight. But it does appear that the Wurms strategy is working out a little bit better this time. They've been able to split the map up a little bit more, break it down into these smaller fights, and get value, I think, out of the Mechanist in particular. The sustain on this build, like the signet trait in particular, all the signets are really good right now. And, you get them all the time. So you can, like, mash your healing signet and keep the passive the entire time on you and the mech. So there's a lot of sustain on this build. Very difficult for anything to break through, even in a outnumbered situation. Grimjack will have to handle that. It's going to be Helio moving in here for the push, but Goku is going to immediately match that. So as long as Zartak can hold, he should be okay. And Azdo moving in as well. And the Wurms grab middle. This is almost like an inversion of the first game. Zeromus maybe about to fall too. 73 health. Azaz looking for the kill. The support is good there from the shout heal there from CJ, but it's not going to be enough. And Zeromus falls there. Can there be a revival here? I very much doubt that into the damage. And a fantastic start here for the French Wurms in game number 2.
Yeah, I don't really know why they had Naru and Zeromus split up early on in that game. We saw, Naru pushing into Mansion. We saw Zeromus over at mid. Again, I don't really understand that they're splitting their team fight up, and their team fight was winning them the first game. It doesn't quite make sense, as we see CJ going to be taken out here now. 1 versus 2. Don't know why he's 1 versus 2 on an enemy node in the first place. Naru now going to get plus by Goku. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Catalyst, gets absolutely deleted there.
And CJ down here. Nearly 100 points to nothing. That's going to be it. Another 2 kills secured. Naru's going to be forced away there. And yeah, what the fuck happened, Roy? It's wave respawn diffed.
Yeah. It actually could be. Yeah, right now USA, they obviously got very stagnant in the beginning. They need to regroup, and they need to push into a node and get several kills, and then push back in. And so far, they're going to have an opportunity to do so. Spree burning his RF here.
That shadow portal!
Pretty weak.
Insane shadow portal though, gets a Spree out.
Really good job.
Huge.
And he actually resets combat, too. It's a shame he couldn't have gotten that before the RF was burned, but nonetheless, he is going to be able to reset that fight for himself. So now this is
here it is, 5v5
fight we see.
Let's go.
We'll see if USA can leverage it to their
Naru
advantage.
targeted.
Again, it's going to be the target, I think. It looks like from USA, but yeah, Naru going to be the target here for the Wurms. Very low, is going to go to downstate. There will not be a signet, and there's actually going to be a downstate knock as well, so slowing down that hard res. Zeromus almost gets one shot. The first on Naru is huge, and so far the Wurms are looking like they're proving us wrong.
They get it.
They're taking this team fight.
Wow, huge 5v5 there, and just the vulnerability of the Harbinger is a little bit too much. And Grimjack going to fall here as well. Grimjack in the downstate, eliminated 2. Can Helio get out? I don't think he can. He's so solo. The Spectre coming in for the hunt. I don't think there's going to be a disengage. He's going to try and just die on the node and just somehow reset. But this is actually an insane game. Goku denying any map control right now, chasing down CJ, and it's still 3 no's to nothing in favor of the French Wurms.
Yeah. You know, I don't know that we really even see much of a different strategy from the Wurms here. I think this is kind of just USA throwing a bit, and not really playing to their strengths. That being said, obviously they did lose that team fight, and you know you could argue that maybe they just had less cooldowns, but I don't think that's the case because this Bree was extremely pressured early on. So yeah, I think this is just the Wurms, honestly, maybe activating a little bit.
Yeah.
CJ eating a huge burst from Goku here and forced to leave this 1v1 as Romus is getting kind of
he's isolated
chased down
here
here
too.
by the rest of the Wurms. Yeah, and he's going to die.
Ooh, that's bad. They can't really re-engage with the support, and it looks like we might be seeing CJ fall as well, because Az's plus that, and this Spectre is going to destroy the remaining health of the Blade Swarm completely. Zroom is still bleeding out as well. There'll be another kill secured very quickly. A Dragon Slash from Goku denies the escape, and we're still on 0 points for Team USA. Now they are able to drive the Wurms away from the mansion. The Golem named Az's mom still blasting away, but Az is able to get over to the node to assist his mother in holding on to the mansion right now. Of course, the respawn for Zeromus is back, but Naru already pressured. If he can't hold on until Zeromus arrives, then that's going to be another stagger, and he's going to go down. Can the ones finish? The cleave is going to be massive. The stomp is going out there, but the knockback actually denies the stomp. This might be the key to getting the revive, but it's not going to happen whatsoever. French Wurms, they may become another kill there. Naru down. And now Grimjack is under pressure too. Zeromus is here with the Signet available, so he may be able to recover this, but there's another kill secured. The Wurms just keep staggering this. They keep on pumping over and over again. Nearly 400 to nothing. What, like, you know, I really appreciate Team USA sticking to the script here. Thank you very much. But, you know, this is maybe a little bit too far. Not quite what I had in mind, considering that the Wurms had such a tough time in the previous game. They're now going to find themselves a near 500-0 victory in the second game.
Yeah, yeah, Naru said GG.
Okay,
I was gonna say, I think this is a bit of a go next situation.
Yeah, okay, I mean, we'll just confirm that.
You know, maybe the Wurms just really wanted 2 games on EU, and since we started on an A, you know, if they had won both NA games, they could have only played 1 EU game. So they're like, listen, we'll just lose the first NA game, and then we get 2 on EU. And that's their strat.
Okay, that is the end of that. Yeah.
Gan Ebed.
Yep, we're going to be going to EU now to play out the next 2 games, but yeah, that was pretty insane, like how snowbally that got. I think that is maybe a slight consequence of these specs maybe being a little bit less sustainy than the current meta, right? Like, you know, it's a little bit easier to recover from a snowball, I think, perhaps in some of the in the current meta of Path of Fire and Heart of Thorns and Core Game. But here, you know, it's just so hard to hold on. You cannot survive these fights outnumbered for very long because of just how squishy everything is. You don't have core Necro, you don't have core guard or anything like that, right? These builds very vulnerable. The Harbinger, quite squishy, right? You know, the Spectre even, not quite as, you know, no Shadow Arts in play there, right? You know, everything is quite easy just to burst down and just eliminate there as well. You know, it's not like you know, even the Catalyst, right? The Catalyst has a lot of durability and sustain, but it's not like, you know, let's say a Weaver, like a really, really durable Weaver build. It just kind of gets wrecked a fair bit. That was, I've got to say, I'm a little bit confused as to why exactly that went that way. I mean, it was just like a simple snowball and then just no recovery. I mean, that was unusual, I have to say, considering how intense and close the first game was.
I think it's not going to be the strength that USA would normally have. There wouldn't be the advantage that I would normally consider for USA. That being said, it's a new game. It's a new map. I think USA should be able to come into this fresh, and certainly this won't be a 500-0, but we'll have to see, you know, if they're going to be able to change anything up here between the last game, or if it's just going to be a repeat of Kylo, and Wurms are going to go up 2-1. At the moment, 1-1 on Capricorn. First game here that we're going to be seeing on EU.
We're going to see the same split here again. Zartak with Asdam going to be pushing over towards that far node. Then they won't get there before Grimjack is able to capture them. He's able to do that exactly right. And I think this time we do see perhaps Team USA expecting this a little bit more. And yeah, we already see Helio being really annoying, intercepting Asdam there, taking a huge amount of his health off there. But he ports on, actually almost gets the decap thanks to that mobility. No. Grimjack has arrived. This time playing a different build, not going with the hammer, going with, in fact, Dagger Catalyst as well. So CMC's dream has now been channeled, you know, through the Elementus on the blue team. Dagger is back, but the fight now continues. It's going to be Naru there, taking a bit of a beating. However, good rotations from USA matching this fight very effectively there, keeping it even with a 3-3, but that Harbinger taking a lot of damage. We might need to see a Signet coming through very shortly onto Naru, but the mobility is good on the Harbinger. Able to more or less get away, but
really
but the
nice
Spectre's here.
Reserves.
Ooh.
Oh. That was a great top from Azures to keep Nar kind of close to them. They're going to be able to keep the pressure up on him. He's trying to drop some wells for himself. He does get into the shroud, but he's very, very low out of that. Big CC on the Wurms, though. Really nice job there. That was actually that's done. Now he's going to start getting pressured. He almost goes into downstate. It is going to be Nar going into first, but Zerome is pressured here as well as Helio. Signet going to be interrupted. He does get the port up. I don't think they're going to be able to get the res, and the first kill of this game will be going to the Wurms as Naru gets cleaved out.
Yeah, that was, of course, the usage of Siphon there. You know, that range steal able to interrupt the Signet just like a regular steal there, using sleight of hand, bound for that, all that kind of good stuff there. So very, you know, again, another great piece of utility there for the Thief, and looks like the Wurms are going to get a bit of a cleanup here. Helio in trouble. I think he will end up falling here too. CJ, I think, may be able to get the disengage, but Goku's still hot on that troll. Actually gets a massive gunblade swipe back onto the blade swan of Goku. So CJ will live here, but now Grimjack here, he's in a lot of trouble. 1v2, the Spectre and the Vindicator find that kill, and Team USA having difficulty, and another triple cap. What happened in the first game, Roy?
Yeah, they were warming up, I guess. I don't know. It's, you know, it's the Skyhammer curse, I guess. Yeah, very, very strange. But so far,
Naru down.
Oh,
Signets.
One shot.
Oh,
I think he just got one shot through Shroud.
Yeah, well, I mean, Shroud doesn't do anything, right? Shroud does not absorb damage, so yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, he like through all of that, the dodge, the defensive he has.
He just died. Oh,
but yeah,
he just died anyway. Oh goodness me! I mean, this is looking absolutely brutal. Team USA kind of stuck on spawn here a little bit. The Wurms now going to push him for more aggression. Now, Zartak isn't here, so the Wurms have got to be careful. He's pressuring the bell right now. There he is. He's going for that bell. I don't think Team USA can really get there in time to contest that. That should be a free bell for the Wurms, at least for the time being. But so there could be a potential kill or two here. But as long as the Wurms play it safe and disengage carefully and wait for Zartak to arrive, they should be able to simply take this fight again. There's the bell confirmed. 25 points have been locked down. That is the end of that. And now the Engineer is arriving into this fight. And once again, I think it's going to be, yeah, they're just going to go straight for Naru here almost immediately. They're going to pile on and look for that kill. I think Naru about to fall here. That one health bar he has is about to run out. But he was able to wriggle away there a little bit there with the Spectral. Gets back some support there from the rest of his team. Can USA somehow turn this? They've got to do something quickly. They're looking now to go for the kill on Zartek, but the Signet Heal comes out, and a spree is down. The Willburner gets cleaned up here. I don't think that's going to be a revivable. I think the cleave should be good from the Catalyst and the massive damage up there, but Naru is still low. Actually, Naru is going to go down. Shadow Step Storm is a potential. Is it going to land? No, it's not actually. He doesn't quite get it there, unfortunately, and this should be a fight for Team USA. Asnom's going to fall there as well, and Az is at risk here too, but Zartak able to get a bit of a disengage. That was a Clown Fiesta team fight.
They strike back, but I mean, 230 points behind. It's not looking great for them. They're really gonna have to snowball the map the rest of this game. Bell won't be up for several more minutes as well, so they can't really use that to their advantage at all. Still, obviously it is good. They've tasted blood kind of for the first time in this game. Goku being bled out now, although we are going to see the stomp from Grimjack as USA is going to continue to push on. But that'll be, 10 seconds or so more now that they have a map advantage in terms of numbers. If they can find a follow-up kill onto that, this will allow them to certainly turn this into a double cap on the map. But they really want to try to pressure all three nodes. They've got to try and do something about the dock here. From the Wurms, and yeah,
Signet.
CJ.
Very good Signet there from Zeromus, able to get that, get CJ back up on his feet quite effectively. But the Wurms have now repacked, right? They've essentially re-established themselves. They're going to be pushing back towards the middle to take the fight again. And this next bell coming up in around a minute, that could be the pivotal moment in this game that can end it. Going to the next game, the fourth game, very quickly. Like, if this goes in the direction of the Wurms, that will end the game. And Naru just getting beaten down already. Az is going for the stop. Does he land it? Yes, he does. And a kill already secured in this massive 5v5 brawl for the Wurms. If they can snowball this, that will secure them victory. Goku lands a massive dragon. Look at that stun onto Grimjack. Nearly like a 3-second stun. Grim forces disengage. Zeromus so solo has renewed focus. There it goes. They've got to disengage at the bell up in 30 seconds. But the Wurms already rotating out onto the map. They're going for the Bazaar here. And if that bell goes red, then the game will end.
Now we're saying GG again. I am sensing some tilt. And I think kind of what you mentioned before as far as, focusing the Harbinger down might be part of the reason we're seeing the Wurms have a little bit more success. I agree. I think on Skyhammer, he had a lot more ability to kite, obviously with the jump pads and everything. And I think when he's free casting, right, it's so much damage. By the way, there's several people in spectating this arena. I don't know if I know obviously CMC.
Oh yeah. Let me.
know. I don't know if they're supposed to be there.
Yeah, let me get rid of them.
Regardless, though, yeah, I think being able to find that kill into the Harbinger so consistently from the Wurms is really important. I mean, again, they went into that fight on mid with Goku coming in off of respawn, and they are the first ones who lose a player. It just seems like it's maybe too easy for it to be killed now at the moment. Obviously, you know, without the as you mentioned, the damage from being soaked up from Shroud. You know, even with that evade in it, even with the more, you know, the mobile aspect of it, it's just not enough. And oh yes, and we actually see Naru swapping.
Yep. What do you think it's going to be though?
Class stack. It's either a Ranger or a Virtuoso, right? Or no, I guess he could go Thief, right?
Yeah, it could be a Spectre. We could also potentially see Naru play Willbender, and Zeromus could play something else as well, for example. So there are a few options here.
We could see Zeromus go to the Virtuoso. That would be exciting.
Yep, we could see Virtuoso.
I don't see him swapping, and he only said Naru swapping, so I don't think so. If anything, my guess would be...
As well, of course.
Oh, yeah, true.
Could be a Mechanist.
Yeah.
Yep.
He does play Engineer. We do know he plays Engineer.
Yep.
I don't think it's going to be Spectre, because I just don't... Naru just doesn't play Thief. I'd be surprised if it's Ranger. So, yeah, I mean, my bet would either be... Yeah, and I don't think he plays Mesmer, right? It's most likely Mechanist, since it seems the most, you know, likely thing, just based off what we know Naru plays. But... I don't know. I mean, that would be weird. I guess, are they going to go for some sort of like team fight build with that? Or are they going to have try and have several side noters, or maybe Grimjack is going to switch up to something more team fight oriented to try and replace the Harbinger? I don't know. That is good though. I think not having that sort of, you know, freer kill in the fights is going to be good.
Yeah, it's definitely the point where you definitely look at the build difference here, right? Like you look at what's being played on both teams, and you try and figure out like what's the problem there. I think. Definitely the Harbinger causing a lot of problems. I think it was just no value. And that's not in a... You got to bear in mind, these 10 players are excellent, right? They're at the top of their game, right? Team USA and the French Wurms, aka the Lakers, right? Some of the top players in the game. So they know what they're doing. Naru, an excellent player on Necromancer, but Harbinger, just such a soft target, you know? Like, Necromancer just does not have the ability to survive very well without using that Shroud to tank or barrier on Scourge or something like that. You don't have the defensive capabilities of other professions. Even with that very large health pool, you just get melted. You just get absolutely demolished in these fights. And, you know, I think the Catalyst as well, may not be providing perhaps as much value as you might think. Again, Grimjack, an excellent Weaver player, one of the top players in the game, no question about that when it comes to Elementalist. But again, I think it does just kind of get blitzed. It can't really hold. You know, we see Grim actually playing a very aggressive build here. Demolish your Amulet Rune, Divinity there. So a lot of damage. Even going with the unblockable Relentless Fire, 15% DPS, and going with Dagger, like a very aggressive setup here, trying to just get huge DPS. Even refreshing, like all of these aggressive abilities, using Elemental Celerity on the elite skill. We might see a bit of a swap up here, potentially, of some traits going for Empowering Auras, even more damage away from Spectacular Sphere, but it does seem that the composition of the Wurms is giving them a bit of an edge here. Of course, Naru is going to be relogging. Oh, I think do we see him on the... We do see him on the... Wait, hang on a minute. Who's this? What's going on here? Yeah, it's going to be the Mechanist, in fact. Matching... going to match Zartak.
Yeah. You know, it's an interesting choice. I don't think it fulfills the same role quite as much, especially on the build he's playing, as... the Harbinger, but I think the main thing is that he shouldn't be dying as much as he was on Harbinger. It's also, you know, who do you focus now? Because, you know, in the standard meta, you know, if you can't focus the Necro, because obviously the Necro in general is going to be one of the first targets, a lot of times you'll see teams focus down the Guardians, but because of how mobile the Willbender is, I'm not sure it's going to be as easy of a target now. Vindicator, maybe Bladesworn. I mean, I guess probably any of these targets might be as good as the next at this point, just because, you know, obviously, again, these players are going to be kind of new on these classes. But I don't think it's as obvious as it would be in the standard meta, where, you know, again, if the Necro isn't really an easy target, you can be on Revenant, or you can maybe go on the Core Guardian, because it just doesn't have that same ability to get away from damage and pressure as the Willbender does. So, you know, if Naru can do a better job of surviving here, I think that'll be really good. It is going to be interesting to see how they play around this. If they want Grimjack in the team fights, if they want Naru in the team fights, if they're going to try and split themselves up a bit more, then, you know, and not really force 4v4s, 3v3s as much. But we'll see.
Yeah, I just really want to echo that sentiment. What is Team USA going to do? Because I think, they essentially kind of have two slightly side note-ier specializations. It is interesting to try and categorize what these Ender Dragon specs actually do, because they do have a very heavy element of hybrid to them. I think the Catalyst can 1v1 pretty effectively, but also it has loads of area damage that it can bring to the table. The Mechanist being used as a duelist, but it has a lot of teamfight support. And of course, the mech can be really annoying too, right? Like in these team fights, can just pump away like crazy. Yeah. There too. There's a lot of interesting things. Even the warrior, right? The warrior's got support built into it. And we actually see CJ going, super aggressive there with the Berserker Amulet, Rune of the Soldier there for that big DPS. Same thing, same thing there with Goku too. So they have a lot of support. It's very interesting, like the way these builds are actually shaping up. There's support and damage at the same time. Like the kind of the odd one out is Willbender being like a full, even the Spectre, right? Like a full support build here from Esprit, but the Spectre has that element of support with the Shade Shroud or the Shadow Shroud, right? Able to heal and barrier the team, lots of cleanse coming through from Hungering Darkness, but still having this brutal damage. I think if you're looking at one build that looks to be really going crazy and getting a lot of value, I've got to say it's the Spectre, right? The Spectre is really putting in work for these Wurms, like in the team fight, even on the side, in these 2v2s, it just seems to perform very well wherever it is on the map.
Yeah, I mean, it honestly could be that being, the difference in these team fights as well. I mean, having that extra support from the Spectre could be the difference. And yeah, I don't know. I mean, I guess we'll have to see if the Mechanist change was the difference here. I'm also interested to see what Naru has named his mech. Because obviously we have Azur's mom on the side of the Wurms, but we don't have, I don't know what the name is for Naru there. Stealth also may be relevant here a little bit. Obviously Wurms can utilize stealth. We haven't really seen them do too much with it, I would say, in the other games. But, it is going to be something, there is a difference there. But we'll see what happens. It looks like they're going to be opening up onto CJ, potentially over at mid. Currently he's in 2v2. No, Azure, I'm actually just going to leave. And he's going to be plussing now Zartak over here, the Waterfall, who was getting engaged on 1 versus 2. But Azure, there for the support.
Exactly, and with that Spectre, that should stabilize us, because not only will the Spectre be applying counter pressure, but also be supporting. Actually, we already see a damage here. So much damage to Helio. Helio goes down. Zromus has the Signet. Can he land it? I believe there was a knockback that should deny this. The hand res is coming through, but the cleave is big. Another Signet coming through there. Will it actually land? It does, but a lot of pressure went on the Team USA during all of that. Can the Wurms follow? Can they find that kill? But Esprit taking a battery, but look at the speed. Willbender. Dude, we've been playing Willbender wrong, Roy. Its true strength is running away.
Yeah, I mean, I guess if you are in that situation, it is pretty good at doing that. Unfortunately, I don't think that's really where USA wants to be using their strengths, or rather their strengths. More like running to the fights as opposed to running away from them. Either way, they have kind of restabilized a little bit, and they're actually doing a little bit of pressure now onto Esprit. Again, Willbender, Guardian in general, not a terrible target, just kind of harder to lock down here now with the mobile abilities that the Willbender has. And he's going to be forced to just kind of disengage for a moment and then come back. But again, USA have done a pretty good job of resetting for now.
That was a 7,000 heal from the stealth attack on Asden, by the way, onto Esprit. Actually insane. Single target, of course, unlike a lot of healing in the game. But still, that targeted support really putting in work in PvP from this Spectre. Absolutely getting so much value out of every ability on the Thief. But still, a completely stagnant map state. And I think that's a consequence of bringing the other Mechanist in, right? Because it is that kind of... It's just not going to die. It's going to sit there. They're both running this kind of durable build, so nothing really going on. The first kill of this game could be unbelievably pivotal, simply because of how slowly these nodes are moving. And looks like it may well be the Spectre, but actually, Grimjack gets spiked out. The support from Helio is good from that dodge directly onto the Catalyst. But the fights, they're just not doing anything.
Yeah, I mean, the damage is still insane. We've obviously seen some very, very good damage, very good burst. We see it right now with Grimjack almost getting one shot. He has both of his dodges available, does get into the Earth Shields. Romus is going to be there to support him as well. Wow, barely able to sustain himself. But as I was saying, the damage is still, huge. There's tons of damage on both of these teams. It's not like these are all, just bunkers or anything, but they're all just as well very, very hard to kill, very, very hard to finish off just because of the, the mobility they all bring, the dodges they all have, through various weapons and utility skills, and the ability for all of these classes to kind of disengage themselves from these fights. So I think it is interesting just kind of to note that a lot of damage, but it's hard to see kills, especially when you don't have that Harbinger on one side, which is generally the first target you're going for. But yeah, completely neutral map, 3 minutes into the game. And we are going to see potentially Zeromus going down. Has RF, though. I think he should be okay. And also all of these leaps, so he's going to be able to get out here pretty quickly. This is gonna what this is gonna come down to, I think, is which team messes up on rotating first.
Yeah,
whichever team
exactly
messes up rotating into the fight first is gonna lose. Is gonna lose a player.
And Asdom wants to find something, but Helio does match it very well. The damage, I've got to say, for that Spectre is huge. The mech's pumping here as well. Zeromus arriving there too. A spree hot on that pursuit. Are we going to see a kill? Bear in mind, the Signet can be interrupted by the Siphon if Asdom has that. So if a kill is secured, this could be good for the Wurms because they do have the counterplay to the Signet. Massive damage onto Helio. Grimjack in trouble on the other side. And there's the first cap, actually. Asdom finds it into that 1v1, I believe.
Yeah, a lot of damage here on the waterfall, though. Helio very low, gets the dodge off. Still has some heals here from Zeromus. As Zeromus a little bit pressured, he's going to be forced to move away at the moment. Apparently, the Rev is bugged. That is unlucky indeed. But either way, I think 2 caps now coming through. Yes, 2 caps coming through as CJ is going to be forced off the node. That rotation obviously coming through. Helio does rotate in, but they have got the node, so it is going to be the double cap for the Wurms.
Yep, they do have it. Signet tries to come through, but Grimjack gets cleaved out before the game is over. Azaz gets caught in that stun, but a spree. No, he has no stability. He is not able to get that revive, so a kill for USA is now going to be landed. You've got to say, it's worth noting that this is certainly not a done deal. If USA can snowball this, it's going to be hard for the Wurms to break in because of just how long it takes to get these points. They've got the 2-cat now, but a spree able to heal Goku very nicely. Massive shout healing coming down. There's the reload from Tactical Reload bringing this back, but that does leave a spree a bit vulnerable. However, Goku gets back onto that point in order to contest. Tries to peel out his Guardian there. Good ports from a spree. He's able to wriggle away fairly effectively. But the Mechanist of Naru did get eliminated. Asdom a little bit pressured, but Zartak holding firm. A spree coming in there for even more sustain to try and hold on here as they can. But the Wurms do appear to have stabilized even after having a little bit of trouble there.
A spree pretty low, but I think he should be able to get away. Again, just very easy to disengage on this. And yeah, you know, the kind of kill-for-kill trade over there on mid did help USA out, but it really just helped them not lose more of the map. They weren't really able to gain much from it. Decap does come out on the middle node as they continue to try to push this team fight over at mid. Naru respawning now. He's going to be going for Decap on the other side of the map. Should be able to get it and again, reset the map, but they've lost 100 points at this point, and Waterfall is going to be capped up here for the Wurms. So far, yeah, you know, I mean, I think both these teams are doing, you know, some very good things. They're rotating very well, but it does seem like the Wurms are just having a slight edge. Obviously, that 1v1 that Grimjack lost kind of, you know, was the tip that the Wurms needed. And they were able to, you know, really gain a lot out of that, turning that into a double cap. But see if Naru is going to be able to stabilize this node on Quarry. As Zers is going to be forced away. And wait, a lot of damage on Goku. Going to be very low. Azranome also going to be very low. Big interrupt onto his heal as well. If they could find kills here, this would be huge for USA, but the pressure is now turning back onto them. CJ in a lot of trouble.
Yep, that was a good recovery there from Goku. The support there from the ones is good, but look at that. A spree gets collapsed upon by USA, and they show us that they're still out here fighting in these team fights. Able to secure that kill. Still all the play for. They need more, though. They need to get more. The Guardian is down. The Wurms will try and disengage this, and they're doing that exactly now. And USA aren't going to get another kill, but they may well end up securing the middle node, and a 2-cap is enough for them to win this game if they can just grab that and hold on to it. Oh, Asdom going for the D-cap. Can Helio make it in time? He actually can, and that might drive the Spectre away. Let's see if the Spectre's going to take the 1v1, because I think this build actually may well be competent at dealing with these 1v1s, but it's going to be Naru replacing Helio, allowing him to rotate back into the fight. Yeah, I love to see that. Exactly what we need to see here. Is there going to be another kill? Zartak control, 1k health. He gets healed just barely in time, but here comes the Catalyst, and that's going to be the kill. A spree is back. Is there a Signet available? I don't think there is. No, there is not a Signet available. He cannot get it, and USA actually starting to show a bit of life in this fight. Could they actually get this game under control? And the 4th game, pushing it to a 2-2, right? The script starting to look good again.
It's definitely possible. Zers and Goku now going to be in a lot of trouble as Goku's going to be brought down. Spree is still here, but he's not going to have the Signet available. And I think what this is happening is, what we see here is the Wurms, you know, they chose to try to contest the middle node. Obviously, the middle node and Legacy are going to be one of the easiest nodes to contest just because of how big it is, even after losing their support. But they kind of just collapsed because of how many cooldowns they were, you know, forced to burn there, even with that rotation from Naru out replacing Helio on the Quarry. Which, again, as you mentioned, was a very good rotation, and it ends up causing them to lose players. That being said, they are still contesting this, and without a double cap, USA is going to be very hard-pressed to win this game. I mean, if they're able to consistently farm kills from here until the end of the game, they probably can win with one node, but I don't know. They really do want to get that double node, and the fact is, they should have had it capped, you know, almost a minute ago, and that's a minute of points they now don't have. Zeromus, under a lot of pressure, does get the R off F. RF off, excuse me. And he's going to be able to get out for now, but a lot of pressure still on him, a lot of follow-up damage. Does port away. However, the follow-up damage, follow-up ports are going to be good. Earth Shield is going to be good there from Grimjack, and he's still sustaining somehow. Now USA needs to find counter pressure, find a kill to come back onto it. Spree might be that target, as he's going to be very, very low, very pressured out. Doesn't have the RF available. See if USA can continue to do it or not.
I'm just loving this synergy. We have the Spectre healing and shrouding the Guardian. We have the Earth Shield being given to the Willbender. The dodge roll from Helio, keeping Zoro's alive. There's the Signet onto Goku. Both teams squeezing the juice out of every profession's mechanics, synergizing and using the hybrid rolls together. So on this team fight, it's still going on. Who's going to die first? It might be Zeromas. He's got nothing left. He's got stability, but he's going to go down. Is that going to be a revivable? The team is saying might be able to grab that, but no, I think they're a little bit too pressured. So. It might be too hard. They're going to
dwarf road on top of it. There's a lot of damage onto the Wurms, actually. Grimjack's still trying to hold on to this res, but I don't think Helio is going to be in a position to really help, or CJ. They still have it, though. Wait, we see it potentially stop coming out from Azure Dome. I think that's going to be interrupted. They're still trying to hold on to this, but no, I think finally that's when Goku gets on top of it, and they do, and there's just not enough counter pressure onto the Wurms to find a traded kill here, and I think this is going to be USA having to concede this node. And unfortunately, it hasn't gone well for them elsewhere on the map. We see Naru actually losing the node here in this 1v1 against Zartak. Just too many knockbacks from the Wurms Mechanist.
Oh, that gravity well elite, just obliterates Helio. He could not break out of that. The pulsing pull obliterates him. He tried to split the Wurms up a little bit. Ends up getting demolished by the Spectre and the Vindicator pushing in there. And as you say, Zartak doing a great job here on the troll build here from the Mechanist. There could potentially be a plus on some from Helio off respawn, but no, the opposite's going to happen. Here comes Azdome. If Azdome is able to eliminate Naru, this will be a devastating blow to the chances of Team USA in recovering into this game. This is going to be very, very difficult. He is surviving quite well, but his cooldowns are starting to expire here very, very quickly. Can he try and hold on? The mech pumping away. The Spectre firing projectiles there as well with the Scepter. I think that should be a kill on Naru. That is it. That will be a second node secured for the Wurms, and their lead is only going to increase from here. And Team USA find themselves in a very tough spot.
That might be game. I just don't see them coming back. And it's really unfortunate that they kind of started to have a footing on middle node. If they were able to be on, the side nodes, I think it would have been a lot easier for them to get the cap and turn that into a double cap on the sides. But they got locked into Graveyard. And yeah, I think that kind of was the downfall here, because they were certainly ahead in kills for a while. But unfortunately, they just couldn't utilize, that kill pressure, that map pressure anywhere. Signet coming out here from Zeromas is going to be good on to Helio. I think this is now going to be too late. 4 minutes left in the game, just under. Side
very
nodes,
slow,
2 points behind here for the Wurms. I think that's probably going to be it, and I think we'll end up seeing a 3-1 here for the Wurms in this show match.
Yeah. Exactly right. Like the Wurms rallied after having a tough time in that first game. Maybe it was the wave respawn. Maybe it was Skyhammer. I don't know. But something went a little bit weird there. They maybe were perhaps underestimated the damage of the Harbinger, tried to ignore it. After that, they just shut it down. And well, I think that maybe is what happened, to be honest, Roy, because we see that as soon as Nara was the focus target, he couldn't really do anything and just died over and over again, pretty much, which certainly was not desirable, even forcing the relog there. But yeah, this is just getting cleaned up. Wurms secure a kill on Helio. Grimjack will almost certainly follow up very, very shortly. Yep, that's the end of that. And that will allow the Wurms to collapse onto the middle node. They're probably securing themselves a third node as well in this matchup. Yeah, this is looking like the end. I've got to say, the Wurms have come up with a good theory craft here. I do like what they're doing here. Like, I think they've identified, what is going to work here. And I think, particularly, you've got to say the Spectre, I think, put in a huge amount of work here. I'd really have liked to have seen this if there was a Spectre player on Team USA, because I think Azadome might end up being a little bit of the MVP, just enabling. Look at this damage, so much DPS, and the support element is just proving to be invaluable, I think, in all of these fights everywhere on the map.
I think one of the other issues for USA, right, is that, as you said, they were forced to swap up their comp. And we saw the first game, obviously, go the way of USA. But the Wurms didn't swap anything, right? They doubled down, and they made their comp work. And I think the fact that USA had to swap, obviously, again, they lost that first game on Kylo. They still doubled down and tried to make the Harbinger work onto Capricorn, and it didn't. And I think because of that, it's going to be a lot harder for you to sort of re-roll in this specific setting, right? Obviously, Naru isn't going to have practiced a lot of other stuff as much. Obviously, technically, these specs aren't really even out yet. They're still in beta. So it's not as though it's, a normal game where you have several classes you can, kind of reliably play. You know, so he's probably not practicing. I mean, we saw how long it took him to even swap classes. He's probably had to make a new character for the Mechanist. So, you know, I think that also, you know, it's kind of like whoever guessed right, whoever got the theory craft right from the get-go, kind of just wins because, you know, if you're forced to re-roll, you're at a significant disadvantage compared to how you normally would be. But yeah, that is it. That is GG 3-1 for the Wurms there, losing that first game on an A, but then taking it, I'd say, pretty cleanly the next 3 games, ending us there with 4 total out of the best of 5.
And yeah, I think both teams, I honestly, I've got to say, you know, that I do want to be very clear here, Roy, actually. This is not a serious, like, you know, proper tournament, super try-hard match. This is a for fun thing. So I don't want to say, like, oh, wow, you know, oh, wow, this team's so much better than the other team. No. This is all about testing the new specializations, theory crafting, seeing what's going on. And you know what? Look, I just want to say thank you very much to both teams for participating and playing loads of fun builds. We're going to play the 5th match out anyway, by the way, Roy, just for the show, really. The Wurms have officially won now with a 3-1, but we're going to play it out just for the content.
Cringe?
What would be cringe?
If we had like other teams and players like say that they would play and then drop out last minute.
you mean like rank for D5? Yeah.
Oh, wait, did that happen? Oh, I was just kind of throwing out thoughts here. I was gonna, you know, because you said obviously, you know, shout out to USA and the Wurms for stepping up and playing and, you know, not being cowards. And, you know, I thought that was cool. I didn't even realize that 55 who? Is that a team? Is that an NA team?
It is not. It is EU. EU dodging. They fear End of Dragons, but now, of course, they just weren't able to do it. There was unfortunately, they did have to pull out the tournament. Would have been fun, of course, to have those gamers in there as well for an extra team. But it is all good. Is it okay if Nos plays for me? I mean... Sure, why not? Okay. Yeah, I mean, it's good, though, you know. I think we do see that some of these things are perhaps underperforming a little bit, you know. I think Harbinger, in particular, a bit of a loser after the last balance patch, right, or the last Elite Spec adjustment. It just lost so much sustain without having that life force conversion into health while outside Shroud. It just gets demolished, just gets absolutely crushed. In these fights, and it can't hold on quite as well. It's not enough to justify the damage output that it gets anyway. So it's yeah, it's good to see. And you know, Catalyst maybe still not quite good enough there either, right? You know, like we did see it perform pretty well. It was able to pump fairly effectively. Like it did something, I think, but not quite enough to really match up with some of the stuff as well. And certainly Spectre putting in a lot of work. Difficult to make balanced judgments so far there as well. But listen, team, I want to see a clap for both of these teams, right? I want to see a clap in the chat. Big shout out here to Team USA and for the French ones for putting it on the line, right? And saying, yep, you know what? We're going to game. We're going to play for 20k gold, right? It's still a 20k gold prize. And the way it's going to work, okay, is that the team, you know, the Wurms are going to get 12,000 gold and Team USA get 8,000 gold. So there's still a lot going on. Both teams are getting a lot of prizes and a lot of rewards there for both these teams because, you know, it's a special event. It's a lot of fun. And they're here to entertain you, right? Are you not entertained? Here we go. Nos has arrived on Harbinger, is playing the same build, I believe, that Naru is playing with the Aristocracy rune carrying an amulet. That's going to be for synergizing there with Approaching Doom. A weakness application, of course, will generate a lot of might for this build. As you can see here, the pulsing weakness will convert into pulsing might. Here as well, Rune of Aristocracy. Let's see if he's able to survive. But, I mean, I fear he may suffer the same fate, Roy, in this game.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I'm assuming he wasn't watching the stream, so he doesn't really know how the games that Naru played went. But I also know that he's been kind of saying Harbinger isn't great in the Bounce Discord. I think those were his exact words, was, I respect everything that you do, CMC, but I think these changes aren't great. That's a quote verbatim from Nos. So I think he's probably aware of how the class is right now, but you know, we'll see if he can make it work. You know, we'll see if he can do anything with it, and you know, and change anything up. My guess is no. But yeah. See how it goes.
Yeah, we'll see.
Game number 5.
Yeah, it's going to be difficult. I mean, the Wurms certainly putting on a very strong performance in the previous games, like just really showing that they have mastered that team fight there as well. And have a good theory craft. Let's see if Nos is able to bring what Harbinger needs to survive. I think the Necromancer in some respects can be good. If Nos is able to get value out of it, I think he will be able to contribute more to some of these big fights, right? I think, we talked about this a little bit on that Legacy game, right? But that relog from Naru, like, yeah, of course, Harbinger is very, very bad. And they definitely, were getting value out of the Mechanist, but they were struggling to just win the fights, right? Like, once they didn't have that Necromancer for the damage, all of a sudden their team fight was kind of not quite as good as it was previously with the amount of damage output that they have available to them. And that's where the Wurms were able to just consistently win those fights in a way that unfortunately their opponents were not able to match. Okay, that was absolutely putrid. Did you see that fucking damage output onto the warrior there from Shadowfall and then like Pistol Whip and the Scepter shit? Nearly one-shot a 20k HP warrior, Roy.
Yeah, I mean,
Spec,
it's good, man.
It's pretty
People were
good.
complaining that damage was too low, right? After the February patch, seems he was like, okay, then activate Steve. Spectre, he's here.
That was
all right, here we
something.
go. Forest of Niflhel is enabled.
Yes.
And so is Noskok. We'll see if he can do anything on Garbinger Bad.
Yep, he is actually just running away from the team. He's gone all the way around the back to make sure that the enemy team isn't able to actually see him. Unfortunately,
cap nodes, dude.
yeah. Unfortunately for him, he has now exposed himself, and I imagine he will be the focus. He's going to try and take out Goku. Actually, a Spree, though, gets just demolished by Helio. A Spree's going to have to renew already. Good start for Team USA in this fight.
Big damn onto him, and he is kiting away, but Helio as well as CJ are going to be, hot on his heels. However, it does seem like they've realized there's a Necro on the blue team again, and they're going to be starting to go for him. However, there are some peels there from Zeromus. Peels, though, not enough, as Nas almost dies anyways. He is going to be able to get away, though, with that leap. Spectral Walk is well going to be down, so you might be able to just port back. Goku obviously aware of this. But Nas is going to be able to now plus this side node, this 1v1, where Grimjack was 1v1ing into the Vindicator of Azures. See how that goes. Goku, though, still coming in, as well as Zeromus, and Spree still being chased down by Helio. No kills, though, from either side.
Yeah, it looks like it's going to be a different build again from Grimjack. Nos does get taken out there. The damage is good there. Is that a revivable? Zeromus is here, does get that signal almost immediately. A fresh air build, I think, maybe from Grimjack here, by the way. Yeah, it's fresh air catalyst. The spike damage is big. Onto a Spree. Spree's trying to hold on. He may end up going down there. Gets the kite, gets a little bit of healing off. Is just barely able to escape. He's got nothing left, and Spree will end up falling. However, the map does still belong to the Wurms. Spree is not really a revival here. Goku going to try and hold on here a little bit into the damage of the Harbinger and soon to be the Vindicator of Helio, but as long as the Wurms are already disengaged and not lose any more players, they should be okay. But Goku does die too, so there will be a significant portion of time with a strong outnumber in favor of Team USA.
Yeah, I don't know if there was any getting Goku out of there, to be honest, and they are able to turn this into essentially a traded kill. CJ, unfortunately, just in a bad position there. Not really sure, if there was just communication issues there from USA, but they do find a kill there, so they've made it a little bit even, which is good. But Goku was bled out very effectively. They had to stomp CJ just to prevent any res possibilities there. So he'll be back on the map before Goku is. So there's still technically a little bit of an advantage here for you. So we actually see Nos trying to take advantage of this by going for Beast here, yeah, as the mid-fight's still brewing up.
I mean, there is one thing about Harbinger. Look at that DPS. The Beast is dead.
Yeah, it's gone. Don't think it ever existed, to be honest. And that gets them a little bit closer. It does, unfortunately, though, allow them to find some pressure onto this mid-fight. We are going to see Azures very low, but they've already gotten a kill on to Helio. Spree back in the fight as well. Goku now back on the map as well. Has actually made his way all the way across, and he's going to be going for a decap on a henge. So USA had a bit of an advantage. I think, unfortunately, though, this is going to be them forced to disengage unless they can find a quick kill here on one of the players from the Wurms. Spree a little bit low for a second there, but the heals and the barrier there from the Spectre here from Azurdome are going to be able to get him back up. Nos now going to be in a lot of pressure, and I don't think Zeromus will have the signal available, actually, if his Necro player does go down. So far, though, he is okay, kiting it out. Grimjack pretty low there as well, so there's a lot of players here for Zeromus to try and heal. It is going to be Nos going downstate first. Is the signal going to be good? The knock is going to be better, and he's going to be forced actually to burn it. Doesn't even get the cancel, and I think the cleave on him is going to be good as well as the pressure on Grimjack. potentially even a follow-up kill on his Romus.
Yeah, that should be 3 kills secured. It's a big lead there. It was a good, kind of a good map control move by Helio. Didn't go directly to the fight. Did maybe perhaps help his team die a little bit, but he was able to neutralize a lot of things on the map. And the Wurms don't have the biggest advantage in the universe. They need to translate those kills into something now. And hey, maybe Nos can just keep farming the beasts all game long. How about CJ just getting chased down by Azaz? Can the Bladesworn try and get away here? Goes for a Dragon to try and disengage us, but I think this might be a bit of a tough situation for CJ to really get away from, although Zeromus is now back off spawn.
Yeah, again, the thing about these classes is they're all very mobile. I mean, maybe not literally all of them. I think Mechanist doesn't have a ton of mobility, but for the most part, they're pretty mobile, and so they are going to be able to get back and forth to each other pretty quickly, even off respawn. Unfortunately, not fast enough as CJ is going to be taken out. However, Zeromus will be able to keep alive in these fights. On the other side of the map, though, Helio was taken out, and Beast is now going to be answered here by Zartak onto this Finier.
It's a big spike there from Goku. 7k Dragon Touch coming through. That extra charging speed really coming into play there, I think. Getting a lot more value out of Dragon Trigger and the Gunblade in general. Of course, quite vulnerable while channeling. Eats a lot of damage during all of that, but the kill is still secured onto Nos. But Az is now down. Goku taking some damage. The damage is massive, and Goku's going to fall too. Team USA taking this fight fairly decisively. Azaz and Esprit will have to try and disengage. I think Azadome rather is going to die. Look, Azaz and Azadome, guys, come on. This is ridiculous, okay? It's like another Draza situation. It's out of control, but that's a big win for USA. But
I thought Draw was just Draw's nickname, to be honest. But either way, yeah, ton of damage pumped out there in that fight from USA, which is surprising as well because Nos was actually dead while those 3 kills were picked up. So I don't know if there were just lasting effects from the Harbinger or if they were able to find a lot of burst connection there without the Necro. Either way, very, very big turnaround on that side of the map. We are going to have Helio staying over there to 1v1 Goku, makes the rotation back over. Esprit, though, very pressured. They should have a pretty big advantage in this fight. That being said, again, we've seen the Wurms able to pull off some pretty crazy contests, even outnumbered for a significant amount of time. And so far, USA unable to find any quick kills here in the beginning of this mid-fight.
Yeah, it's going to rage on, and, well, I think the real key player here is actually going to be Nos. I think if Nos can survive and really pressure Esprit or any other target very aggressively, then I think this could be a good fight for USA. He's trying to get leverage on that now. He has got a lot of HP still left over. He has all of it, actually, so he's looking pretty good in that regard. Let's see if he can get value out of this Harbinger. But look at the mobility. The mobility of the Wildman actually kind of leaves Nos, like, not really sure what to do. And then all of a sudden, the Spectre arrives. There's the Shadow Fall going through. The damage is massive, but Nos did actually get the disengaged. Zeromus coming in for support too, and the Harbinger does live to fight another moment.
Fight another moment indeed, but again, I mean, time after time again, we see the Wurms just able to survive a lot. I'm gonna maybe hold that thought for a second as there's quite a bit of damage on his Zartak, but he's gonna be sustained back up. Nos now gonna find that pressure extended onto him from the Wurms, but again, able to come out. And what I'm seeing from a lot of these fights is it seems like there's a lot of front-loaded damage, but then there isn't enough follow-up to just finish off kills as much until everything kind of just clicks together perfectly. Because, you see so many times health bars almost deleted instantly, and then, instantly they go right back up, and again, there's just no follow-up damage onto them. Azur's, though, caught out alone, is obviously going to be taken out here. We do see Grimjack doing a really nice job of kind of holding some players off. Actually, again, a lot of very good front-loaded damage burst there onto Esprit. There's just no follow-up because there's no one else with him. But again, a beast kill comes out here.
That's nice.
It's Helio this time going
and the double cap from USA as well, coming through with mid gets capped. That's where, we now see USA getting back in the lead. These fights are going a lot better for them this time, actually. The damage output is good, and yeah, that's a good remark he made about not as much sustained damage. You kind of lack the core Necromancer, right? You don't have the grenade hollow, right? That just keeps pumping over and over and over and over again, right? You don't quite have the tankiness to sustain these fights for as long. You have to play a little bit more defensively. You can't be so aggressive. But Nos now getting targeted very, very aggressively. Is he going to have the hold on? He actually is so far. Wow, I mean, look, I've got to say, Nos making it work surprisingly well. The Wurms having a much tougher time actually dealing with him. Perhaps Team USA playing around this Harbinger a bit more. But how do I hold that thought? Because Nos getting bursted down very, very hard. Can he get the kite? He's getting CC'd very hard. He actually is able to get out. And great build there from the Catalyst. The Catalyst there of Grimjack doing so much damage. And we have Azaz going down there. Esprit with the Signet. It does actually come through. Not enough poison or damage to actually get that cleave onto Azaz. Azaz Central, but Nos has got 2k. He goes in on 2k health. That is a ballsy move. The support is good. He's got the elite elixir here as well. There's Dixie. He throws it down. The cleave is massive. And Team USA, they're going to take this fight again.
Yeah, they do. That's 2 fights in a row now USA have taken. I don't think something we've seen since Skyhammer, potentially. And Yeah, things are certainly looking good for them. That being said, they've still got a lot of points to make up. Over 100 points behind. We are potentially seeing the decap coming out of hand. But decap looking like it's probably coming out here in mine. Espree's still very pressured. I got to say, something else that kind of is coming out at me here is Espree doesn't die a lot. He wriggles out of these fights on low HP quite often.
Oh, look at that juke!
That being said, this might be the end of that reign.
That was really nice.
He's going to eventually go down here, but he's been staying alive for a long time. And while that happens, CJ, he dies.
They've got to rally this.
They've left him alone.
They might be able to trade Espree. They can maybe get him. Keep that going, but yeah, you're absolutely right. Yeah, CJ fell on the other side of the map there on the hedge. There was a plus from Asdom that got the job done there.
Still alive.
So CJ actually reviving, sorry, and actually it was a Helio done in on that there, but yeah. Espree is actually not dead yet somehow. Are they going to try and rally? I don't think they can, no way, right? No, that's not going to happen. Unfortunately, though, the Warrior of CJ not getting up either. The revive coming through from Grimjack.
Yeah, they should be able to
get it, but the Wurms are going to get a triple cap off this, right? That devastating thief rotation from Asdom, finding that kill on the Helio. Then he just goes and AFKs on mid, grabs the node, and USA, they are getting another kill. They get Goku, but they've got a lot of work to do now. They've got 5 minutes to really push back out on the map, and it's going to take them a long time. They're on the red team spawn right now.
They really have to clean this as well.
Oh, and the Signet
just came in back off of cooldown. He gets it! He was able to hold the res long enough for the Signet to come back off of 5 seconds of cooldown, and they're unfortunately not able to find that kill. Beast from Nas again.
Look at that
damage. Found something that Harbinger can do.
Yeah, Beast is down. Just wait, the Beast like levitating.
Wait, Goku?
Oh, wow. Wow. The Goku nearly stole that. That would have been insult to injury there, if he was able to grab that, but not going to happen this time. But the Wurms should have this one in the bag, I believe. Although a much, much spicier game, much more reminiscent of the first game, of course, earlier on. In the event there, the first game on Skyhammer was a very similar score in the other direction in favor of USA. Espree is going to die here. You cursed him like the moment you said he never dies, like he's died twice in a row now, which is a little bit unfortunate.
Yeah, he sucks.
And Grimjack gets honestly some value out of this Catalyst build. It seems that going for this very aggressive setup here, with the fresh air catalyst, really bringing the damage to some of these fights that perhaps Team USA was struggling with when playing with the Mechanist. But that's going to be the end regardless of that. So much damage, but not quite enough. French Wurms put another one on the board there for the full best of 5 there with a 4-1 overall map score between these two teams. Of course, that game was just kind of a ceremonial match at that point, just to play it out so you guys get some content and we can get some good examples of that. And okay, yeah, once again, really big shout out there, guys, to those teams. Right, I think they both played really well and gave CMC some excellent data to look at, I believe, and also some top-notch entertainment there. I was not expecting how that was going to go, guys. That was fucking wild, right? Like those games were crazy, right? Especially that Kylo. That was like completely out of left field. No idea what happened there. That was just some absolute insanity there for sure happening on some of these matches. Very exciting to watch there, and of course, very well theory crafted and played out by both of these teams. I think it'll be really funny to see what happens when Ender Dragons gets released.